So I've been harping about how strong of a duo this is for maybe 2 weeks now, pretty much since the release of Yuumi. And I think it does really well. But I'm looking for maybe if the Kai'Sa can win that initial 2-on-2, which is difficult because of Yuumi's combat spells. But if they do win it, then the Kai'Sa can snowball and get really ahead. But looking at these bans, Crab actually banning the Irelia. I thought they might want to pick it, but I think they were just scared Tasty Juice might pick it. So they ban Irelia Akali, taking away those flex assassin picks. Tasty Juice, on the other hand, banning Jace and now looking for that final ban. So a lot of the solo lane bans are actually coming in the second rotation. I don't like how neither team really picked any of their solo laners in the first rotation, actually matching just bot lane and jungler, but Jace and Ahri coming in, so just all solo lane bans. What do you think about these solo lanes as we go into the second pick phase?
And those are all, at least 3 of the 4 of them are very strong, consistent bans that we see come through. The Jace, the Irelia, the Akali. Ahri is another one of those really strong champions, but not necessarily a power pick like we have seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And
love to see the Vladimir come through as a response to the Ornn. It is going to be a really rough matchup in that top lane for the Ornn.
Yeah, for sure. But I like the Ornn in the team fight situation as a whole, with the engage and working with the Sivir and the Yuumi, and Tasty Juice actually finishing their comp out with the Twisted Fate, which we've seen a lot more recently. Started with Crown, then Nemesis has been picking it in EU, and just in general, it's a really strong champion when the team works as a whole. But my worry as we see Tasty Juice round out their comp is there's a lot of magic damage here. So itemization for Rave on the Sejuani and Ornn, especially with Ornn's upgraded items, is going to arguably become very easy. So
I was actually about to mention how there are multiple build paths available for the Twisted Fate. We do see him occasionally dipping into the on-hit builds, the crit builds, so he can opt not necessarily towards that poke style. He doesn't have to rotate around his Q. I love Twisted Fate. I love playing him with the on-hit or even the crit style, so we do have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. The Klepto mid style that has started, probably from EUS in the last month or two. While it hasn't really been seen in pro play, it is completely viable in solo queue, even in the highest of elos. So I think, yeah, I actually agree with you. Specifically for this game, because of how the damage distribution has worked out, I'd like to see Vlad be the primary AP carry and then Twisted Fate run that on hit. Or I haven't seen the crit. I'll take your word for it though. But Rave rounding out with the Swain mid. Twisted Fate versus Swain mid isn't something that we see in this meta often. But what do you think about Twisted Fate Skarner versus Swain Sejuani? This mid lane 2v2.
I think the CC is a lot more reliable from the Skarner Twisted Fate. Just with the pick a card available, it really sets up the CC coming through from the Skarner. But this is just going to be a very CC heavy 2v2 if we think about it. Just the Sejuani Swain is also going to be really good. Sejuani has fantastic synergy with the Swain passive, so we'll just have to see how these 2v2s start, who gets to respond to them first.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. So as the actual players are picking the champions right now, I thought we could maybe talk about the team as a whole, the win condition. At the end, we can talk about predictions and just final thoughts. As you already touched on, when I'm looking at these comps, so Rave does have a lot of CC, Tasty Juice also has a lot of CC, but what I want to focus on is sort of the early game, because a lot of these champions are dictated by how the early game goes. That's true for the meta in general, but you look at Kai'Sa Karma versus Sivir Yuumi. I think Yuumi is going to be trying to apply as much punishment as possible combined with the Sivir Boomerang Blades. But if the Kai'Sa gets a kill, then Tasty Juice has a hyper-accelerated hyper carry to focus on. When we look at the mid 2v2, I think you're absolutely right. Both have CC. Maybe Tasty Juice does have the more guaranteed CC, but if that Swain starts getting ahead, even with Kai'Sa's percent HP, he's going to become a really big danger to that backline of Kai'Sa and Twisted Fate. And then when we look at that top lane, you said you like the Vladimir counter to Ornn, but I think we all know when a Vlad gets fed, it feels like he's 1v9ing the game, but when a Vlad gets behind, it feels like he's solo throwing the game. So I'm really focused on the early game for both teams. I'm really focused on the jungle pathing. I'd like to see Rave with the Sejuani vertically jungle and pick one side lane to get ahead and play for the 3v2 with the Swain. Twisted Fate is known for his ganking and his pressure in the side lanes, but pre-6, I think if played correctly, the Swain can get mid prio, and they can play 3v2 and shut the Skarner down and one of the side lanes down. But what do you think is the win condition or the number one thing for both these teams to focus on?
I definitely think, like you said, the early game is definitely going to be very important. I think that if Tasty Juice doesn't get the Kai'Sa and the Vladimir rolling, it is going to be a bad time for them, because the longer the game goes on for Crab Rave, the stronger their team gets. They have the tanky presence from the Ornn and the Sejuani. Those are just going to be two big, beefy meatballs to protect the Sivir, who's also going to have the Yuumi on her. Provide her with the zoomies, provide her with the extra shield coming through with the passive, protect the Sivir comp coming through, and then a ton of AP coming through from the Swain. So I think it's really going to be dependent on if Tasty Juice can get rolling in this early game.
Yep, I definitely agree with you. And I think now that we've discussed the teams, maybe something to just touch on odd summoner spells. We do see the Yuumi going for heal exhaust. Sometimes Yuumis do opt for heal ignite. But what that exhaust means is, we already touched on it a little bit. It's the Kai'Sa who needs that kill. Double B, probably one of the bigger carries of Tasty Juice. He has to get kills to get rolling on this Kai'Sa. And with the exhaust, even with Skarner showing up, I just don't know if the Sivir Yuumi are going to die pre-6. But as we do load in, I just want you to sort of talk your way to me, maybe for about 30 seconds. Which team do you think is going to win based on draft, and why do you feel that way?
Purely based on draft, I think that this first game is probably going to go over to Crab Rave. I really like the Sivir Yuumi pairing, and just the fact that they have two really big tanks that will be able to protect the Sivir. Movement speed coming through with the Yuumi, a lot of extra healing. Actually, we do see that the Sivir just switched over to the teleport right before the end of the game, so that'll be really good. I was a little apprehensive about the double heal coming through from that bottom line, so seeing that, I really like that even more. Definitely gonna have to, just in terms of champions, gonna have to give this first game to Crab Rave.
Yeah, I think Tasty Juice is the more favored team in this game and in this series as a whole because of their incredibly strong record coming into this compared to Crab Rave, who did win their last series off in FF. But I think we have to give fair due to both teams. And looking at draft, I had to agree with you. Just not only seeing it in pro play, but I've personally cast Sivir Yuumi. And I'm not casting, the terrible players, like high gold, low plat players, similar to the people in this game. You just have to be mechanically outplaying the Sivir Yuumi. Otherwise, if you eat a Yuumi Q, then the Sivir adds up. It's just a dominant lane. And I really like Ornn, Sejuani, Swain. Even though it sounds super tanky, the Swain really ramps up and starts doing damage. So it's tanky, but it still has damage. And that just sounds super strong to me compared to Tasty Juice, which is really predicated on that Vlad or Kai'Sa popping off. But if one of those do pop off, then all bets are off. So yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I am going to give it to Crab Rave based on draft alone. But I think this is going to be a really exciting game and hopefully a really exciting series. And I think that'll do it for us. We'll go to a short break and then we'll be right back.
Moving into take a little break as we get rid of the spectator delay. Get ready to move into game one of Tasty Juice versus Crab Rave. Do not go anywhere. Hello, everyone. Welcome back here for game one. As we get ready to move in, just a little odd thing we noticed through for this Skarner. It'll be really exciting to see how these brawls come through. One thing to notice, all 5 members of Tasty's Juice moving up towards the top side, towards the tri-brush. James Bond, but unfortunately able to walk himself away for him.
I mean, he's living up to his name, Best James Bond. He's a spy. He saw them coming, and they still are trying. They're trying for level 1 plays with this Lethal Tempo Skarner and this Twisted Fate with the guaranteed.
They actually force
with the guaranteed stun on gold card.
Okay, they have to start the E on the Swain, which is just not really what you want into lane. I want to give a little credit to Riot because they put the new objective thing on the spectator, and I really like it.
Yeah, that word on red.
It's a nice little graphic. Thank you, Riot.
And as we head into the laning phase, just what do you think about this Twisted Fate not going cleanse against the Swain Sejuani with the Klepto? I feel like he does need to get ahead, and it feels a little disrespectful.
Definitely a little bit of disrespect coming through, but we'll have to see on the edge. We'll see how this works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we were talking a little bit about during the break, we think that this Twisted Fate is going to go towards the Rapid Fire the Trinity Force build. So we'll see how that goes. First proc of passive coming through for this Swain.
Yeah, and as we look at the jungle pathing starting out, the Skarner, actually fighting happening mid.
A little bit of aggression coming through for this mid lane, a lot of poke coming through onto this bot lane. They will be the first to hit level 2 though. See if they not necessarily able to make any. Ooh, a lot of damage coming through onto this Yuumi.
Yeah, really strange that the Sivir Yuumi actually lost lane priority to Kaisa Karma, and the reason it happened is because Skarner did not start his red buff. So generally, unless the matchup is really skewed towards one side, the side that doesn't have to leash is going to get ahead. But because Sivir Yuumi also didn't have to leash because Sejuani started at her red buff, I think that's just competitive CR's bot lane just losing the early game for pretty much no reason. But Swain does land some CC here.
So much damage coming through from this early Swain. Very impressive to see that. A lot of aggression coming through. Sivir trying to get damage onto. We do have Montusker coming through, not where you want to be if you are Kaisa. We'll have to blow the flash here. Exhaust coming down also. Great shield coming through for Winter Wonder. Just has to blow the flash and the heal to get away. Does lose the summoners, but fantastic job there at a double B keeping himself alive.
Yeah, honestly, that felt like really bad play from Cage. Actually, fighting that.
C9 Ziggy will be fighting here. Does have his bot lane, the first one to help him out. Swain coming here to help him out also. Peach Buzz Fizzle will connect the gold card. Ziggy does not have anything. First one coming through onto the Sivir. 2 kills coming through. Actually, for Crab Rave here, 3 kills coming over, 2 kills onto the Sivir. This is exactly towards their win condition.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I wanted Montusker to pick a side lane and get it ahead. He didn't quite vertically jungle. He sort of did it. He cleared his top side, then he went immediately bot side, got his bot lane ahead. Now he's probably going to clear his bot side. So that's sort of like a unique take on vertical jungling, especially with Sejuani that I like. He's going to help crash this mid lane in. And now you can see, I was just talking about this, Twisted Fate needs to get ahead, and even though he hasn't died yet, just the fact that he has no cleanse, the respect that he needs to play with in lane and in skirmishes, he is down about 10 CS. Even after he picks up this wave, he's going to be down, sizable amount of CS. But I do want to touch on just one little issue I had. Even though Cage on the Sivir does have 2 kills, I thought the way he played that initial gank that Montusker had on double B was really poorly played. He was playing really far behind his Tycer's Yuumi. So I want to see them clean that up in this game and future games, everything, because Axe is really left the game. Yeah, I expect the pause to come through for sure. But I only bring that up and I harp on it because if the AD carry and the Yuumi don't have like really good synergy and really good communication with each other, it can become really dangerous really quickly, especially with someone like Twisted Fate. If he's about to land CC, they need to be working together to keep both of them alive. But overall, really good start from CR.
A lot of damage coming through on this Swain, from the Swain on to the Twisted Fate. Does not have level 6s available yet. Gold card available, but Peach Buzz Fizzle really just losing out here. We'll have to start popping his potions.
Yeah, we touched on this actually, just talking before the game even. Oh, actually,
Montusker moving up to the top lane, trying to move in onto this Vladimir. Passive available to be popped. The stun will come through Ziggy here, but just has to get chased away.
Yep.
Oh, these Nevermores have been fantastic from Earl King so far. Montusker back available. Flash blown. One more auto actually does the disrespect kill coming through with the smite.
Yeah, Montusker playing really well. But Vlad is still actually Vlad first buying the needlessly large rock. He was up in CS, which is never a good thing for Vlad to be when you're on the opposing team. So I think Montusker might have to end up focusing that lane more and more. And actually Double B also up about 10 CS despite dying. So it does feel like Montusker is the reason CR's lanes are winning, aside from Earl King Swain, who is just doing so much. And as I was talking about earlier, we did talk about, actually,
Ziggy moving in here, but he is the only one here. Sejuani, Montusker here on the Sejuani here to back him up, but...
Yeah, it looks like he was just trying to scare the Swain off of crashing the wave, but he did it, and now they can do a blue handoff, whereas Twisted Fate is going to have to shove at least one wave out before he goes and picks that blue up from the Skarner, which is going to delay the Skarner's pathing. So that's just good synergy from CR and not quite as good synergy from Tasty Juice. But yeah, like I was saying, the Twisted Fate, I don't think he really needed to take Klepto. I think Twisted Fates, when they're going this Trinity Forest new build, should look at taking something like Grasp or Fleet Footwork or any other combat spell that can help them do better, because at the end of the day, the Klepto often doesn't give you that much CS, and because Twisted Fate already has his passive to accelerate his gold gain, I think you're just seeing the result of going something like Klepto. The Swain is winning every trade really hard.
It definitely missing out there. Like I mentioned in our little discussion while we were loading in, I'd love to see the Fleet Footwork on the Twisted Fate. Gives him a little bit more of that lane presence, a lot of the healing that he needs to just to stay around in the lane. Through from Best James Bond, but we do have a Vlad, so he will just heal that up off of the meatball himself.
Yeah, Vlad's pool is down. We'll see if Sejuani opts out of her red and goes to a gank immediately before the pool comes up, but the ward will spot her, but it might not matter with this one.
We do have the Call of the Forge God coming through. No flash available on this Swain, and Montusker on the killing spree. Fantastic job on this Sejuani 3-0-1. 8.
That's honestly, I mean, I don't think it's not good that Montusker has any of these kills on him, to be honest. I don't think it's Sejuani scales very well with gold, but that's just Montusker showing you how smart he is at the game in general. He was initially pathing to his red and okay,
a little bit more damage coming through. We will look to see when the first Demonic Ascension comes through here for Earl King. No AP for him yet, but does have all 5 souls available, so we'll just be able to come through.
Yeah, resetting with about a 25 CS lead, so when he comes back, he's going to be really scary. But what I was touching on with Montusker was that he was pathing to his red, and then he was going to do his Krugs like a standard jungler would do, but he recognized either by himself or Best James Bond, the Orange, telling him, once the Vlad wastes his pool like that, you have to immediately go and punish him. Because of Ornn ulti, the ward there didn't matter. So even though they didn't pick something like Irelia with the Sejuani, which is a much more classic synergy for top jungle 2v2, I think the Ornn Sejuani actually has a lot of synergy, and they're really punishing the Vlad's over-aggressiveness, who is up 10 CS, but now that he has 2 deaths, it's not really a lead, but rather a neutralized lane. But now we need to see either the Vlad punished again, which might happen here.
Oh my goodness, this is not where you want to be if you are only easy plays. Fantastic Glacial Prison there coming through from the Sejuani. And this is just the Vladimir getting absolutely punished.
Yeah, the Vladimir getting punished and Ziggy Skarner just getting completely outpassed. But even though CR is 6-0 and up about 2,500 gold now, I remember I mentioned in the draft that I want to see them win the 3v2. So now they need to bring either the Swain. Oh, actually, trading happening here.
We do have the Sivir getting locked up. Ooh, fantastic there. Able to get the sun coming through from double beam, but oh, won't get popped just quite yet. But we do have C9's. I'm sorry, yeah, I do have Ziggy here. Will help him out. Montusker just on the other side of the river could be in for a possible 3v2. Also have Yumi in the side wing.
Yeah.
If you looked at the chat, there was like a notification that they unpaused. It didn't actually show it. It was weird.
So as we're looking at the game as a whole, Tasty Juice getting the first kill of the game, getting on the scoreboard. They did kill that Sivir who just positioned really aggressively, really silly positioning, but she did finish her Essence Reaver now, so she is fairly strong. But yeah, like I was talking, okay, Sejuani Montusker might be looking to punish here.
Montusker is just everywhere on this map.
Yeah, I think Montusker's doing great, and the Swain is up 40 CS. I think it's wow.
Yeah, Best James Bond doing a fantastic job. Has the Abyssal Mask already, and we'll just be able to start slapping easy plays around. Sitting at 0-3 is not where you want to be in this this Vlad versus Ornn matchup.
Yep, definitely.
See the Rift Herald get popped in the mid lane there, but nothing really get picked up. Just a few turret plates. But 3 people in this mid lane currently. The slow will connect. Glacial Prison available for Montusker, but they will just bully the Twisted Fate off this tower.
Yeah, I think that was really good Rift Herald usage. Getting the turret plates, as you always want to do with Rift Herald in a 5 setting. But, I mean, for example, they could have thought to go top and take that turret, but they want the gold on Swain, not Ornn, and they want to take mid turret, not top, because if they get mid turret, they can push their vision line in, and then they can actually punish the Vlad more. It would actually help the Vlad if you took his top tier 1 with the Rift Herald and let him farm at his tier 2. But now, with only 1 plate left, if they take that mid tier 1, then they can ward in the blue side of Tasty Juice, as Cage might get caught out here.
On the hunt does get popped. Montusker does have the ultimate available here. Winter Wonder in a lot of danger here, but damage starting to come back through onto the Sivir. Oh my god, Double B will just wipe the Sivir off the map. Montusker not where he wants to be right now. Does have the stun coming through, but will just get shut down. Gold does go over to the Karma, unfortunately. Fantastic play there from Double B.
Yeah, I think fantastic play in that he landed the W. I think that's the biggest thing he did, because once you land the W and Cage has already eaten that much damage, Double B just making the smart move, ulting in and turning that fight around. So heads up play, even if it didn't require a ton of mechanics. But the issue is that's the second time that Cage has died from just silly positioning, taking too much damage, etc., etc. Now Double B is up about 15 CS. He's finished that Storm Razor and he's about to finish his Cole quest. He only has 9 more CS to get. So by opting out of anything like the Manamune build, he did hamper his own early game, but now he's going to scale up as the TS might get caught out.
Peach Buzz in a 1v2 and not where Ziggy is available now. Just so surprised how this Sway versus Vlad matchup is going in the top lane.
Yeah,
TS is practically even, and Ornn is just honestly bullying the Vlad.
Yeah, the Ornn definitely is, but
Call the Forge God will come through. Fool will get the dodge the CC there. The phase rush will get himself away, but a lot of presence from the Sejuani up in the top lane forced his flash out both times. 2 fantastic ultimates from this Ornn. Also, Flash and Pale coming through will find the Yumi. Ignite coming down will be able to dash away onto this Sivir. And a lot of summoner spells getting blown just to save Cat.
Yeah, Winter Wonder really misplayed that by not landing the empowered Q, so Yumi was able to survive. But because Sejuani went top and didn't actually kill that Vlad, which would have allowed them to push down top tier 1 and get first turret, they were Tasty Juice is able to make a play for this dragon, but nothing taken yet. They're really just fighting over it. But now that Sejuani's bot side, maybe CR looks to actually get the dragon.
Bit of a harass coming back from Peach Buzz, but he's honestly not having a great time in this lane. Currently, almost down 50 CS, 81 to 127. It is just that's nutty.
Yeah, I would think that maybe they didn't have a lot of practice with the TF, or maybe just this matchup in general, because Swain's not that popular in this meta. And like I mentioned in draft, TF doesn't actually have a lot of pushing power pre-6, and if you don't go AP, you never really have much pushing power until you get like 2 or 3 items and you get into the actual side lanes, just because your Qs aren't that strong. So the Swain is really strong, but I think the TF needs to impact this map, and then his CS deficit won't really be as huge of a problem.
Actually, not sure if we've seen a TF ult come out just yet. We'll have to see how he chooses to use that. Sitting at level 10, not level 11 just quite yet.
Yeah, we do see the Ornn is winning this one-on-one though.
Does take the Proto Belt into the Ornn, but with the Abyssal Mask, he's just laughing. He's like, man, that tickles. Come on.
Yep. But my issue is that even though Ornn is winning this one-on-one,
Fate ult does come through. I was a little confused about that emblem, but I forgot he's using the Pulse Fire skin, so my apologies.
Yeah. Well, it's good that Ornn is able to win the one-on-one and really abuse Vlad's weak laning. My issue primarily is that the Vlad is still scaling up. The last 2 or 3 times they tried to punish him. Oh, Montusker actually engaging onto Ziggy.
A little bit of Montusker and Ziggy fighting in this jungle. Swain being the first one to make it will get dragged back. Not where you want to be. Impale does come through, trying to drag him back towards the tower. Ziggy will be able to get himself out. The easy plays only. The flash demonic ascension will come through second reactivation, but Earlking's taking a lot of damage from this turret. Easy plays only does get stunned up. Unfortunately, Best James Bond not where you want to be at right now. A lot of healing comes through for only easy plays. Come through, sorry, not shut down, but a kill come through onto the Swain. Out here, and this actually will be a fight coming through here for Tasty Juice, but the Sivir is available now. Boomerang Blade will pick up the Vladimir, but you're in a 1v2, not sure what you're going to do here. Sivir will just run herself away.
Yeah, I think Karma actually playing really intelligently aggressive because she knew she had the Kaisa with her, who is really strong right now. Now 3-1-1. Looking at that fight as a whole, I really applaud Montusker for actually being able to finish off Peach Buzz and get a retribution kill for that whole failure of a play. But that's just the team not playing with Montusker's level of aggression. First came Swain, Earlking, who was relatively late. Then came Best James Bond, who was like really late, and I don't think actually connected his ult on any important target, so they weren't able to kill Ziggy. But overall, a lot of mechanical misplays. Sejuani completely whiffed the ult. I think Swain missed the first CC that he was trying to land on Ziggy in that tight corridor. And this is just what I was talking about. I wanted to see CR play the 3v2, you know, get abuse these advantages, and they're not really. It's just Montusker trying to press his advantage, and his solo laners really not trying to. But now we do have the mid laners in the side lane, and this is where the TF is going to try to eke out those advantages, get back into this game. He has finished that Trinity Force, but with Swain's Seeker's Arm Guard done, Roa at 6 stacks, and Merc Treads done, I don't see this TF being able to kill Swain in a side lane. But you said you played a lot of TF. What do you think about this side lane matchup?
Just a lot of defenses coming through for this Swain. Oof. Sorry about this. We do have the pause coming through. Oh, okay. They are having Discord issues, it looks like. Okay, we will take a quick second to talk about that matchup. I do like TF in general, but in terms of just the that Swain provides, with he heals himself so much off of his passive. I'm not sure what the Twisted Fate is going to be able to do. He's just getting poked out. He's getting grabbed with the Nevermore, getting pulled in, and just getting so much poke coming through from the Swain. I don't think anyone is ever gonna. I'm sorry if he's ever gonna be able to really respond to anyone in a side lane.
Yeah, I agree with you just based on the game state that he's stuck in. And I think that's a big worry because, in draft, I said if he goes APTF, then itemization is really easy for CR. And you responded saying that if he goes this klepto twisted fate mid, well, then that makes the damage distribution really nice. And I agreed with you. But if he's this behind and no one has to be
Mhm.
scared of him, especially with his lack of ulti usage, if he doesn't get on someone like a Sivir, well, then this orange abyssal mask and the Sejuani's magic resist and Swain's general tankiness, then I just don't see who's going to be killing CR's backline of Swain and Sivir being boosted by this Yumi. And with the team fight engage that exists with a Sivir ulti and an Ornn engage and then a Sejuani engage, I'm worried for Tasty Juice. Like, what kind of fight do they win? They don't beat the Swain in the side lane, especially not until Vlad scales up. Maybe once he hit 3 items or so, he can do something there. I don't know if they want to front to back 5-on-5 unless Double B just has the fight of his life. But because Double B did opt into PTA compared to Cage's lethal tempo, if Cage just doesn't die and is constantly auto attacking, he could just end up out damaging Double B despite. Arguably being the worst AD carry this game thus far. So, how does Tasty Juice actually win a fight as we go back in the game?
And moving back, we do have a teleport coming in onto easy plays only. 42 coming up to this top lane. It's coming through, and this is not where you want to be if you are this absolutely gets wiped off the map. Vlad, if we look at the top side of the map here for Tasty Juice 0, 6-0, just not really where you want to be.
Yeah, I totally agree. The Tusker did such a great job of shutting this Vlad down, and now that Swain TP using Yumi, that's one of the biggest ways you have to use Yumi. You don't just stay attached to your AD carry. She attached to the Swain. She was able to ulti the Skarner on top of the CC that Ornn provided with his ult, and they were really able to shut him down. And now Dragon Control and future Baron Control is about to come up is now firmly in the hands of CR.
Baron available. We also do have Cloud Drake sitting on the map, so we'll see when that gets taken. One already sitting on Tasty Juice, so we'll see if they opt in for the second one. I do have a second Abyssal Mask coming through. A little bit surprising to see. Maybe Chwani would opt for a different magic resist item there.
Yeah, I think maybe not even just another magic resist item. I do think the Kaisa is fairly strong right now. I understand that because of Ginsu's and just her kit in general, she does do a lot of magic damage, but I don't think you'd be reticent to go some sort of armor, like the Ornn is doing now for his second item. So I am surprised to see the Sejuani rush MR. I would rather she builds something to counter the Kaisa first item.
Flash gets blown out of the Karma here, and this is just a fantastic fight here. I'm sorry, Skarner trying to find whatever he can. We'll have to just blow the flash, but it's just wasted. TF does blow the ultimate, gets himself away, and this will be a Cloud Drake coming over for Crab Rave. Fantastic fight coming through, and this is just the team fight comp that we saw the draft is really starting to work out as we see all 5 members grouping up, taking the dragon, and just winning these fights.
Yeah, I mean, CR only has a 2,000 gold lead, but I don't think it really shows the strength.
Looks like they actually are moving over towards Baron. Vlad is right here. Flash will find him out. Stun comes through, and yeah, another kill coming over for Crab Rave, moving over towards Baron. They do have their starter coming out of the base just now. Not sure if they're going to be able to do it. Ping's coming through. Smite not available for the Sejuani, so this is a really risky play.
Yeah, no smite and no mountain break. Yeah, they might have to pull off this Baron, but still the pick on Vlad is a good one. And that team fight at Dragon, I asked you the question, what kind of team fight does Team Juice win? And they haven't shown that they can win any sort of team fight right now. Sivir does finish the IE now, so if they do get a pick, that Baron will go a lot faster now.
Like we mentioned in the pregame, I don't necessarily think with the team fight comp that we saw come through for Crab Rave, don't necessarily think that Tasty Juice is going to be able to win in team fights. Like, they do have the Kaisa, and that's a really strong AD carry. But with the Ornn and the Sejuani and the faux tankiness coming through from this Swain, just especially with On the Hunt, they could just pop On the Hunt and run the squishy members down here on the side of Tasty Juice. Like, they don't have a tank. I'm not sure what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. As we might see some fighting here, but until we do, I do want to touch on the vision for both these teams. The biggest way to sort of show the vision difference between these two teams, if you look at Cage, he has a vision score of 24. If you look at Double B, he has a vision score of 8. And it's not because one of these 80 carries is, definitively better at warding than the other, but because of what CR has been doing, taking turrets, moving in the vision line. If you look at those 3 wards near Dragon that Skarner is only just now going to clean out, well, now CR is going to move that type of vision up to Baron. If they suffocate the vision on Baron, then it's going to be hard for someone like Vlad or Skarner to just run in there blind, and they're going to have to do things like waste Karma Redemption just to get vision on Baron. So I want to see CR sort of choke out near this Baron pit, but it looks like they are going to respond to the split pushing TF.
Also, if we look in the inventories right now, currently on the side of Crabrave, 7 control wards available as opposed to the, actually, you see Kaisa just picked up 2 before I decided to make that point, while I was waiting to make that point rather, but 7 to 3, was 7 to 1 when I was getting ready to talk about it, but so much vision getting ready, already put down for Crabrave, so much vision getting ready to be put down. So, Joos is just on the back foot here.
Yo, I totally agree with you. And while we're talking about, items and inventory, we talk a lot about Skarner attacks, right? Having to get the QSS against him, but it's actually the Kaisa who's picking up the QSS first because of this Ornn, Sejuani, Swain, CC that's coming in, and the Yuumi ulti. That does mean, though, that Silver hasn't bought a QSS yet, so that might become an issue as we play around this Baron, but thus far it hasn't. And it does look like the Vlad is winning that one-on-one in the side lane now, although it can't be sure. He should be able to finish that Rabadon soon enough and cement his ability to win that one-on-one. Both teams playing around the Baron. Twisted Flay is playing in the bot lane with his TP up. I just want to see CR play better around this Baron. Montusker is playing out that vision ward. I think they might look to take that top tier.
They will find the Karma out in this jungle. Will get herself locked up here. Do have the Glacial Prison actually coming through, and Best James Bond on a killing spree. 305 for this Ornn.
Yeah, absolutely. And
yeah, they actually are looking to move themselves over towards Baron, and surprisingly, do have the Skarner currently sitting on their red buff, and yeah, I think they are they're probably going to get this Baron. They have so much vision sitting on the blue side of that jungle.
Yeah, I mean, that's the vision.
I see 6 wards right there.
Like, yeah, absolutely. And the only
pings are just now starting to come down. Destiny not available from the Twisted Fate. Won't be able to spot out the Baron buff. Will be a free Baron coming over after they pick off the support.
Yeah, I mean, with
on the hunt and Julie all getting popped. All the force shot comes through. Vladimir trying to fight anything he can, but in a 1v5, shutdown comes through over to the Sivir, so they will get themselves something but 4 Baron buffs here. Fantastic for Crabrave.
And with Dragon coming up, Crabrave might contest that Dragon, but Cage dying does mean that Tasty Juice might be able to get that consolation prize. But Montusker will shove top and get that top tier 1 with that Baron buff, and that will leave only bot tier 1 as the remaining tier 1 turret. So CR might look to move bot with their foreign Baron buffs and just pressure Tasty Juice into giving up all that turret gold. And Tasty Juice does pick up that second Cloud Grid.
Unfortunately, we're in for an Ocean Drake next. This is not really what... These aren't really the Drakes you want to see.
I don't know about you. I like people who run.
I mean,
fast,
I love Cloud Drakes. I love Cloud Drakes, but I want to see some like Infernals. If I'm casting, I want to see some Infernals.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you're Tasty Juice, you want to see some Infernals. The Double B is still 3-1-1 on this Kaisa. No matter how much his team is dying, his support's getting caught out. He does have a 40 CS lead with the 3-1-1 scoreline. So if he could get something like an Infernal, that would really make his job of being the primary damage on this team a lot easier. The Vlad has finished his Rabadons, but he's 1-6. But I do want to point out, though, despite being 1-6 and previous to the last fight, something like 0-5, when he went in something like 1v4 after Baron was gone, he was able to kill the Sivir. So this Vlad, even though his scoreline doesn't indicate it, because of his 30 CS lead and his just good farming, he is a strong damage dealer at this point. But Skarner
One
might
thing,
get caught out.
one thing we also need to point out here, we do have the level 15 Ornn currently. So he has given out 3 empowered items. Each of those is, ooh, actually, we do have Double B getting caught out. Glacial Prison comes through Yumi also, but with Cage getting threatened here, this is, this Vlad is starting to do damage with the Death Cap. Impale comes through onto the 720. Montusker is in a 1v4 here currently, but he does have support coming through here. Twisted Fate finds himself to kill onto the Yumi. Ziggy trying to find whatever he can, but Montusker in a 1v1 against the Twisted Fate here. So much damage. Flash comes through. Peach Bows Fizzle able to find himself a kill onto Montusker. He's waiting in the 1v2. Double B trying to find himself whatever he can. They are trying to collapse himself onto the Twisted Fate. Will get their shutdown onto the Twisted Fate. Bot and the support. Only 2 members left, as we do actually have the Skarner starting to move back over here. Just a lot of kills back and forth
here. Yeah, and I think a lot of it we could have predicted because they're just patterns that we've been seeing all game. CR initially getting the pick with their superior vision control, but Double B just mechanically outplaying, using that QSS to its fullest and surviving that whole fight. Cage, in my opinion, with some pretty poor positioning, but more importantly, only easy plays that I was talking about with that Rabadon. His scoreline doesn't indicate his current strength. He is able to completely one-shot that Sivir and really disrupt the backline of CR. So Vlad doing what was expected, Kaisa doing what was expected, and TF, the happy surprise, has finished that rapid fire cannon, and despite being down still 60 CS, was decently useful for that fight. But I don't know, is this an indicator of how Tasty Juice can come back into this, what they need to do, or is that just CR taking one of the worst options that they have, and if they just take a better fight, they'll be able to win?
I think they may have just taken a poor fight. Call of the Forge guy getting ready to come down onto this Twisted Fate. We'll get knocked up here and just absolutely get wiped out of the map. James Bond sitting at 507 right now.
Yeah.
Oh man. Earl King will Impale is available, but actually Ziggy does get dragged back. So much damage coming through out of this Swain, especially with such a squishy composition coming through for Tasty Juice. Oh, they do get the Flash Impale out of Cage here. Just really poor positioning, to be honest. Ziggy, great job getting that kill. Getting himself out here, but honestly, Cage, what were you doing there, buddy?
Yeah, I don't want to just keep harping on it, because at that point it would become flame, and you know, I'm an honorable boy. We do see only easy plays re-engaging though.
We do have them re-engaging. Actually, will get knocked up onto only easy plays. That was a lot of knock up and pullback and very low health here, but we do have Peach Buzz Fizzle did pop the ultimate to get himself back through here. Not sure if they're going to be able to get themselves anything off of this fight, but I think they should just push. I don't know if they should continue this fight. Call the Forge got back available. The second one we see this long dragged out engage. Double B trying to get himself out. Only has a little bit of health left. Just gets wiped out. Juice should have just backed out when they had Cabaret running away, but now Karma by herself here. Montusker. This is a fiesta. I'm just gonna say it. This is a fiesta. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just drinking water, muted myself for the last minute because it's just constant fighting. I do want to give applause to Montusker and Best James Bond there, though, for all the shortcomings that Cage is having as a DPS and keeping his deaths minimal. I thought they were just doing a really good job there. Earl King, too. Earl King was constantly, like when the Twisted Fate kept trying to push up and CC targets and keep going forward, he was doing a really good job at CCing him. Best James Bond landing a lot of knockups and 2 great ults, actually. That's how long a fight it was. He'd had the great ult to kill TF at the beginning, and then at the end to turn the whole fight around. And then Swain...
That is how that all started.
Yeah, and then Swain forcing the Vlad flash at the end also meant that Double B definitely died. And now for the next 5 minutes, Vlad's consistent engage is gone. With Baron coming up, or actually is up already, that is a pretty big deal that I think we want to be looking at as we look for the next fight to occur.
I was looking at Twitch chat, and I really like Jack of All Muffins saying the new classic, I have Yumi on me so I can int. That killed me because that's literally how that entire engage went. It was just like, oh, Yumi's on me. Let's run in now.
I think that applies to everyone but Cage. You know, like if it was something other than a Yumi, like Galio or Alistar.
Yeah, we do on the hunt getting top tier just to get themselves away. Montusker in a bad positioning there, but yeah, we do have to really start keeping an eye on this Vlad. I think Cage really needs to start keeping an eye on this Vlad towards some magic resistance. You see the QSS there for him. That's the only MR that he has. Maybe needs to opt into some.
Yeah, Swain is able to get that bot tier 2, but neither team able to get
Sonic
that.
Ascension coming through onto this Vlad. Actually, I think Earl King does have this 1v1 coming through, but we do have a nice fight coming through in this top lane. Call the Forge Guide coming through. Both connect onto this Karma. Knockup coming through onto Skarner. Ziggy trying to get himself away. Stun barely connects. Cage will get the last crit just to finish him off. Doubleby has to flash to get himself away, but flashes into Earl King. Actually finds himself out, but Earl King will go down also. But this is just a crazy fight. Currently, just a lead for Crabbrave here. Move themselves onto Baron. One point I meant started to make earlier before a team fight with the Ornn being as far ahead as he is. Do see so many 4 empowered items coming through for him so far. So that's an extra 4,000 gold that we don't see represented on that gold chart.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only 4,000 gold, but empowered stats too.
Completely uncontested Baron. Do see the Dragon also getting picked up there, but picked up there. But 2 minutes until the Elder Drake, rather. So as we start to move later and later into this game, the empowered Infinity Edge for the Sivir, as the Phantom Dancer, also just so much damage. These crits are gonna smack.
Well, Phantom Dancer, but also Executioner's Calling, which I think is arguably the bigger purchase because, you know, the only one who I've seen 1v1 this Vlad so far is the Swain, who we did talk about when the mid laners initially got in the side lanes. So I think that Executioner's Calling is going to make it so that if the Sivir dies, she's going to minimize the Vlad's effectiveness through the duration of the fight. And if she doesn't die, it might be because, you know, in combination with the Phantom Dancer, she'll live and she'll reduce Vlad's healing, which will take him out of the fight and stop him from doing what he's been doing so far, which is completely disrupting CR's backline. The Twisted Fate does get the top tier 1, and he does have the IE completed, but honestly, he's been such a non-factor so far. If you're this Twisted Fate, what do you do to be relevant in this game and help your team win this game that's looking more and more difficult for you?
Honestly, Twisted Fate is just his job is to sit and take towers in side lanes, and then he's just gonna ult to a team fight and be a yellow card bot. Like, he's gonna provide a little bit of poke with his Qs, but he's building the AD and the attack speed, so he's not gonna do anything with his Q. Just gonna be there to provide a little bit of CC, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I just think the issue is, like, as we just saw when the camera panned over the top lane, because the Ornn has the upgraded Sunfire cape, he has the Warmogs, and he has that additional armor item as well, plus the Merc Treads to reduce the gold card effectiveness. The Twisted Face is losing in the side lane to the Ornn and the Swain. So while I agree with you about both those parts you mentioned, I think the Twisted Fate is finding a hard time getting any real towers. You know, he's gotten both the tier 1.
Montusker does get impaled here in a 1v4 position, does get dragged towards the tower, pops the Gargoyle's Stone Plate, but just very poor positioning coming out from this jungler, especially with the Elder Drake coming up in 5 seconds. You want to be dying as the jungler.
Yep, that's a huge deal. Montusker.
We do see Destiny coming down, finds out Earl King in another position where we see 1v4 Crabbrave. They were sitting in a fantastic position. Oh my god, best James Bond. On me, they're just this is the third 1v4, 1v5 in a row. Flashes over the wall, able to get himself to safety, but this is just a free Elder Drake now for Tasty Juice.
Yeah, it is, and it makes me wonder if maybe CR is watching our stream and realized we thought the game was too close to being over. They wanted to make it fun because I mean, now that Tasty Juice has Elder, they got it on the Kaisa too. And Kaisa is just so good at using that true damage and winning team fights already, like a 1v5 champion. Double B has Runin's Hurricane completed. Might have enough gold to actually get the Mercurial Scimitar now, unsure. Okay, so he completes the Mercurial Scimitar. Combined with the Elder Drake, he is so strong right now. Gage does upgrade the Executioners to a Lord Dominic's, I believe, but I don't know. I just need to see better discipline from CR and not getting caught out.
Yeah, the one thing I've been criticizing this whole game has been positioning for both teams. Just a lot of poor positioning.
Yeah, definitely. It started in the laning phase, and the patterns you see in laning phase usually transfer into the mid and late game for the ones that are applicable. I personally have talked a lot about Cage, but it's been just players all over the map in a lot of different situations. As Elder is down though, the next objective to come up is of course Baron. And right now, CR still does have vision control over Baron.
We see the flash coming through, grabs the Swain with the Impale, but Demonic Ascension available, but no stacks on the passive use. Sivir actually goes down at the beginning of the fight. This fantastic fight for Tasty Juice here. Vlad absolutely running, trying to get himself, or Arkland trying to get himself away. James Bond, but in a 1v4 here, just gonna get absolutely wiped out. CC coming through, we'll catch him out, but this Kaisa with so much percent health damage is just gonna wipe him out. Juice starting to come back. This gold lead is not matter anymore, especially with this Elder Drake. They do so much true damage.
Yep, that's the Elder Drake's strength, but it's just hard for CR to win any team fight. For all the other criticisms we might have, Cage cannot keep getting caught out. Even if they had even better vision control, even if they did other things like Swain having his passive stack for that fight, they were just never going to win a fight where Double B is free hitting as a 5-item Kaisa, actually a 6-item Kaisa, and Gage dead. That's just not a fight you ever win. And I was sort of touching on my worry early game. When you get best James Bond ahead on this Orin, he's gonna beat the Vlad early on, but I think we can both agree the Vlad is a lot more dominant right now. And even if they'd gotten the Sivir ahead, I don't think it would have made a difference. It's just, if you get the Sivir ahead and she plays like this, you've lost your carry that you got ahead. If you don't get the Sivir ahead and you don't end the game by 25-30 minutes, now the game's extended to 40 minutes, the game is completely in Double B's hands. Irrespective of actual game state and objective timers, Double B is the strongest person on this map, and I think only easy plays might be the second strongest with his Vlad. And so it's on Earl King at this point to not get caught out as well. If KG keeps getting caught out, then Earl King just has to be the main DPS of this team, but I just don't know if that's enough.
I think we're starting to see why Tasty Juice was the first place team in their group. This Baron available now. I have to see how these teams start to position. Elder Drake not available anymore. I'm sorry, that buff not available anymore. Next Drake will be available in 2.5 minutes. I think this is just time for the Baron dance. Time to see how these teams start to apply the side lane pressure and if they can find themselves Baron positioning.
Yeah, I'd like to see both teams actually pressuring the side lanes, because right now this looks like a Baron dance where neither of them actually know how to dance, all 5 of them just grouping around. But we do see Peach Buzz on that Twisted Fate responding to that bot side. So if he shoves that out and he comes back to this Baron with CR doing nothing to pressure Tasty Juice, then Tasty Juice will have the Baron dance advantage.
A little bit of aggression coming through from a Sejuani, not really able to find out anything though. Only easy place in a 1v1 here. Call the Forge God comes down, but Goliath will just pull it away. Healing coming through from this Vladimir, but 1v4, Earl King will get himself to safety. Does have to love the Zanyas, but will keep himself alive. Montusker currently actually has his team here to back him up. Yumi ult, not necessarily. Vlad did get a QSS. Great job there from Cage. Stun coming through onto Cage, but this will be Ziggy going down. Just Crab Rave, maybe this might be the fight they want. Double B does have the GA trying to get himself away. does blow the QSS to get a little bit of extra movement speed. Well, GA does get popped, and this is just going to be a free AD carry now. Speed and shielding coming through, but yes, free double B going down. They should just move themselves towards Bear, and it looks like that will be what they're doing.
Yeah, should be able to Baron and maybe not end the game, but just take inhibs and really make this game into something a lot less winnable for Team Joos. Cage just stayed alive. That's the biggest thing I can say about that fight. I think Earl King played that really well. Obviously, yes, some mechanical misplays, but by taking out the Vlad and staying alive, that enables Montusker to dive the backline with best James Bond. And Double B just can't do anything against that much CC, even with the Mercurial Scimitar. Yeah, might get
another ball, the Forge God coming through, trying to find the Vlad, but shutdown coming through from this Swain. A lot of gold and damage coming through onto this Vlad. But currently only on 4 members now. Pink's coming down onto the Elder Drake, spawning, actually just spawned, so it's the way they did last time.
Yeah, the Vlad getting that kill is actually a pretty big deal because now Team Joos can look to take this Elder Dragon. This is going to be the second Elder Dragon, and we already saw what Double B did with the first one.
And they had fantastic team fights coming through. Just from that first one, the damage increases twofold with the second one. So they're just going to absolutely melt Best James Bond and Montusker here.
Yeah, absolutely, which is a really big deal because Montusker and Best James Bond have been, obviously not the highest damage dealers on CR, but they have been doing a lot of the work for the team.
It's really weird to see a team with Baron lose a tower. Port coming back through from this Vlad was able to pick himself up that Void Staff. Just both Magic Pen items coming through. Actually, just gets absolutely wiped out. Does have the Baron buff damage, I'm sorry, the Elder damage, but Earl King finds himself out this Vlad. Or Tasty Juice trying to find themselves, actually Swain does have to blow himself to the flash. Peach Fuzz will find out that Swain. Actually, over for Twisted Fate. Another kill coming through, actually. So much damage coming through for it. Ooh, actually, Peach Fuzz unfortunately goes down. Going on this game.
Yeah, just constant fiestas. I mean, the Swain flashing into the already cast Twisted Fate Q. I guess the other deaths aren't really that stupid, so to say, but just Double B, I mean, completely playing them in the back line. He uses ult to reposition, then he uses E with invisibility to reposition, and now it's on Cage to defend as Team Joos looks to push their advantage with this double Elder.
They will find themselves this game, but Bitter in the mid lane, but I'm not sure where this game is really going. I'm not sure if any team necessarily has an advantage over the other. 46 minutes in with even gold. Gold doesn't matter at this point into the game, as pretty much everyone is on 6 items.
Yeah, at 46 minutes, the gold is even, and usually when the gold, one team scales better into the late game, so you say, okay, this team is now in the better position. But there's just so many confounding variables here, if you will. For example, the Twisted Fate with Klepto, who's been useless all game, arguably, you would think is still bad because Klepto is obviously now not offering him an accelerated gold advantage, but he's actually doing better as the game goes on, just providing that gold card utility. And with the Kaisa on his team, as long as she has GA, she is such a threat, and that GA is about to be up soon. I would say that Team Joos looks to be the stronger 5v5 team fight, but what keeps happening is usually Montusker is getting him a decisive advantage, or Earl King, by killing someone on Team Juice, and then they just win every 5v4. So I think now it just comes down to who's getting the picks, and you would think that'd be Team Juice because of Twisted Fate ulti, Skarner ulti, etc., etc. But right now, no one really knows because, you know, just what are the teams trying to do right now?
Just praying we don't have 2 more of these.
Yeah. Well, I love close games. You know, I prefer them to be close for another reason. You know, 25 minutes are really.
I love me a close game, but I love a close 30-minute game.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd like them to be close for 25 minutes. Really good play from both teams, and then just one thing, or just a few small things build up into a win. Oh, we do see a
he
fight.
does get himself caught out here in a 1v3. Cage able to pick himself up that kill. I've cast a tournament where I did 10 games and in a row, and I exhausted right now than I did after that 10th game.
Yeah, I've never had to cast 10 games, but you cast some of these best of threes. If you go to a game 3, it can just get rough, absolutely. But I will say that a long game like this to start off any sort of series, both teams are going to be confident that they can win the next one, right? No matter how this game ends, you can always just say, hey, but look back 20 minutes ago, we were about to win, right? For both teams. And they're going to learn.
All the Forge God coming down. We'll find out only easy plays. Hopefully this will be Crab Rave's fight. Trying to find themselves. Come on, Tusker, dude. Get off the tower, bud. And coming up will be the 3rd Baron of the game, spawning in 5 seconds. Looking like they are moving themselves over towards that. Smite not quite available, but are coming up right now. Will be able to get himself over there very quickly. Destiny gets popped by the Twisted Fate, gives them vision of all of the members, and gets him over to the pit. But this will be Crab Rave's Baron. Actually, they aren't able to get themselves out. Peach Buzz Fizzle trying to get himself away. This will be Ziggy. Get to see Impale onto Cage, and this. What's going on anymore? Montusker trying to get himself away. Double kill coming over for the Kaisa. I think this is finally going to be the game for Tasty Juice, finding themselves 3 members with timers at this point.
Yeah.
Got huge. He's not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah. And best James Bond, 6-2-16. I mean, he has a KD of 11, but at the end of the day, you're a tank, and when all your DPS is dead, but still 38 seconds left on the server, I think Tasty Juice is going to end it right here. But this has got to feel so bad, honestly. Just the way they lost, and even for the winning team, Tasty Juice, how they almost lost. This is just a really strange game.
I don't think either team can necessarily be proud of this game.
No. I mean, it's Dom. It is Dominate, so maybe some of their egos are big enough to let them be proud of it. But I think most of them, knowing some of them, they're going to know that they did some really good things this game, both of them. But there were a lot of mistakes, especially in the mid game transitioning into the late game, that they need to iron out. You know, once you get that first Baron a CR, you shouldn't go to 3 Barons. That's not a thing that's happened in like 2 seasons. And even for Tasty Juice, even though you were on the back foot, you shouldn't have been really on that. You know, your Vlad shouldn't have died that much and overextended that much. And then after you got that first Elder, I think they could have pushed that advantage more. And then even after the second Elder, you would think that's when they've, you know, really got the game in the bag. But then they threw it. So just a lot of throws going around. And I really hope both teams communicate, you know, before our next game and really work on those communication and teamwork issues.
Okay, I think we are going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break, a little bit of a well-deserved break for everyone here after that game 1. Everyone go get yourself some water. We will be back for game 2 in a few minutes.
talk with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running low. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running low. Keep running low.
Hello, everyone. We are back after just quite a game. We're just gonna say quite a game one. Same bands. Tasty Juice banning out the Pike and Varus. Same two bands that, sorry, same first four bands that we saw coming through from the first game. Um, what do you think about that first pick Kaisa as we see Crabrave pick that up?
Yeah, Crabrave clearly taking the Kaisa away from Tasty Juice, who did first pick it last game, and they banned the Sivir away, which is what they'd originally picked. So now Tasty Juice might pick something like Zaya, and even Zaya Rakan is an option. I like the Kaisa, but because the pilot of the Kaisa, we were criticizing Crabrave's 80 carry last game for his positioning. I'll want to wait and see how he positions on the Kaisa to really judge it. Tasty Juice does respond with the Sejuani Karma. Normally you pick Sejuani plus a melee champion, but I think they just really wanted to pick that Sejuani and take it away from Montusker. How do you feel about Tasty Juice running that Karma back? Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
I don't necessarily. I don't know if it worked amazingly in the first game, but they won't have the Kaisa alongside it. Actually, we'll see the Karma Lucian getting picked up. Actually, not quite. Okay, actually, does get locked in. Not sure how that. I don't know if I've ever seen Karma Lucian in a lane together. Bot lane pairing is gonna work out exactly. I did like how Tasty Juice went ahead and stole the Sejuani away because saw that very. I'm sorry, we saw Montusker just all over the map on that Sejuani last game.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I guess my feeling is just I actually thought Montusker was a fairly bad Sejuani. Like he was whiffing pretty much all of his ult. I thought Montusker was just playing really well as like an actual player, and I just think that whatever Montusker is going to be on, he's going to be a big problem. But I can see what Tasty Juice is trying to do. Actually, they also stole the Ornn away now as well, so I guess they're trying to take away what they thought were the biggest tools for Crabrave. But looking over at Crabrave's side, Kaisa Thresh I think is going to be a lot more. It's going to be similarly aggressive to Sivir Yumi in that you are being aggressive, but they're looking for the pick, you know. And with how Montusker originally ganked bot lane, he got his bot lane ahead. I think the Thresh is going to set him up a lot more than what the Yumi Sivir was before. And with Montusker and the Evelyn, I mean,
Ooh,
yeah, that says it all. But I do want to point out though, Crabrave has picked Jace mid, and Crabrave's mid laner was on his way to flame horizoning Tasty Juice on that Twisted Fate mid. So I'm really looking at this mid lane right now because Jace Evelyn is a really strange mid lane combo that I haven't seen much of yet. And with Tasty Juice possibly picking Riven mid, that's Riven Sejuani, which I mean that's a really explosive mid 2v2.
yeah, with having a mid pair, a melee mid pairing for that Sejuani definitely helps out any 2v2 pairing, especially if we look at the Ornn Sejuani or the Riven Sejuani. Great pairing
Yeah.
since those are both melee. Will definitely help out with that Sejuani passive. But I think the Sejuani all over the place is going to be just very helpful. But Oscar played the last game. When I saw him pick that Evelyn, I got a little scared because when he gets level 6 and they literally can't see him coming anymore, it's going to be really scary.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Tasty Juice, yes, they do have the Sejuani. I definitely agree. She's a super strong champion in anyone's hand right now. But Ziggy on that Skarner, I think the definition of running it down, that might be what his early game pathing was. Like, he didn't have any kills. His first kill was just a Sivir walking into him, giving him a kill. If he does better with the Sejuani, then that's great. But if he doesn't, then actually forcing Montusker into something besides Sejuani, into the Evelyn, might actually be a boon for CR. And because I think Montusker is one of their better players. And in that mid to late game where they really struggle to close out the game, well, if you have a super strong Evelyn that, like you said, no one can actually see coming, if that Evelyn destroys double B on that Lucian, the game's over at 25 to 30 minutes, which is what we thought should have happened last game. But I do want to ask you though, the roles are a little reversed in that Tasty Juice is now on the Ornn instead of the Vlad, which is a lot more of a carry pick. How do you think this Ornn is going to do for the team now that their damage has switched from the top lane to the mid lane with that Riven pick, presumably?
I think the Ornn is just a really strong pick, like we saw in the last game. Got so we saw just a lot of drawn out fights in the last game. Well, instances where we saw two Call of the Forge Gods come out in one fight. So it'll be really interesting to see if same kind of presence, even though it is the Tasty Juice playing it this time as opposed to Crab Rave in the last game. One thing we forgot to point out is the Shen Evelyn interaction. That'll be really interesting. If we have the Stand United coming down on the Evelyn, that'll be an invisible way to deliver the Shen, and that's really scary.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And actually, so one thing that I really didn't like about what CR did last game was that even though they got their mid lane ahead, they got their top lane ahead, and to a certain extent got their bot lane ahead, there was no cross map plays. I thought the TPs were pretty mediocre overall, and they didn't even like invade the jungle as a 3v2, right? It was super delayed, and it actually hurt Montusker more than it helped him. But with that Shen pick, it's really easy to just ult onto the Evelyn or even ult, down to the AD carry and make that bot lane a 3v2. Just a lot easier for Best James Bond to be able to impact the map, even if his team fight impact isn't the same as like when he was on Ornn. Also, with this Jace mid, obviously there's a lot of differences between Jace and Swain, but the biggest one for me is I thought Earl King's best strength last game was his laning, where he almost Flame Horizon Peach Buzz, who granted was on a Twisted Fate that looked like he first picked it. First time, like he'd never played it before, right? He looked like a bronze player. But if Earl King has a similar laning dominance against Peach Buzz, I think the Jace is naturally just going to have more proclivity to invade with the Evelyn, so they should be able to abuse that 3v2 a lot more. But that said, Riven is way different than Twisted Fate. How do you think this mid lane one-on-one's gonna go down, and how is the mid lane two-on-two gonna go down, especially with Evelyn? I guess I would say weakness before level 6.
I don't know if we're necessarily going to see the Evelyn too much before the level 6, but Jace is just such a strong laner. And if we look at subtract what the champions we were looking at last game were, we take just how you mentioned how dominant he was on the Swain in the last game. If put him on the Jace, which is just being, if you think about it, I think into this Riven, who the Jace will get to stay ranged most of the time to bully this Riven. We'll see. Maybe I'm not sure how this is for Tasty Juice here, but anytime I see a Jace, especially into a ranged versus melee matchup, I think it's going to go in the Jace's favor.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that's what Jace is known for. I guess I would just look for the Sejuani Ziggy. Ziggy did not do this mid last game, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Different champion, different mid lane pick. Although granted, he did have a TF mid, so you'd think he would have camped for that. But he has a Riven mid. He knows how much of a snowball matchup that mid lane is going to be for either side. So I think he's going to impact that mid lane and probably look to impact that bot lane. We do see both mid laners so far running Ignite compared to the TPs. I think they were both running last game, which just goes to further prove our point of how important the early game is going to be. If she changes it, it's going to be a non-point. But what do you think about Karma running Exhaust instead of Ignite?
With how we saw Cage playing last game, I think it'll be really good to have a way to just lock him down even more. His positioning wasn't great in the last game, so having the exhaust definitely lock him down. On the Kaisa, who you definitely need to cripple in the early game. Really excited to see Double B on the Lucian. Just a really strong player. We saw him pop off on the Kaisa last game. So on a champion that is just really strong in the early game like Lucian, I'm really excited to see him.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think, so we have about 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. We'll probably go to break in about a minute or so. So as we have about 30 seconds left for both of us, which team do you think is going to win? Just like we did for last game, which team do you think is going to win based on draft alone, and why? Why do you think that team has an advantage? And use game one results too if you'd like to sort of contextualize it.
I don't think we can use game one results to contextualize anything because there's just so much back and forth. We saw both teams throw equally, so can't really use game one. Excited to see Double B on this Lucian. But one thing we need to keep in mind is it will start to fall off the later we go into this game. Have to keep in mind as we just had a 50-minute game. But I do really like the scaling. I'm sorry, not the scaling, but the tankiness that the Ornn and the Sejuani provide. Don't necessarily know if a Crab Rave is going to be able to cut through that tankiness. So I'm definitely going to have to give this one to Tasty Juice.
I'm actually going to give this to Crab Rave, and I am going to use game 1 results, and here's how I'm going to do it. So let's just assume Cage keeps dying every important team fight like he did last game. Well, that sounds like a bummer, but I feel I can say that because Kais is actually harder to pilot than Sivir, because you're not usually running rapid fire cannon, so you don't have that range increase. But what I love about this draft, even though it wouldn't apply for most Fives comps, is I think Montusker is one of their best players, and on that Evelynn, if he can consistently kill that Lucian, especially if Karma's exhaust is down, if he kills double B on that Lucian, I don't trust Peach Buzz Fizzle from what I saw from game 1 compared to Earl King.
Okay, I think we will go ahead and take a little bit of a break as we get rid of this spectator delay, but anywhere, we'll be back for game 2. Hello everyone, we are back for game 2, getting ready as looks like won't have the same kind of invade we saw in the last game. Mostly 5-point defense coming out so far. The early game is going to play out for us, Hogwarts.
Yep, I think early game, I mentioned early game being really important last game just because of how the teams were going to scale up, but I think it's actually even more important this game. I think a lot of this is going to depend on jungle pathing, and I think Montusker is by far the better jungle pather, but Ziggy is playing Sejuani, who has a really easy time impacting lanes, and with 2 melee laners and with Peach Buzz being a Riven main, I think, you know, there's just going to be a lot more synergy between the jungle and the solo laners than there was last game. So I think for TJ, they're going to basically look to get mid lane ahead, in my opinion, and then segue into bot lane. So I want the Sejuani to vertical jungle on the bot side, similar to what Montusker ended up doing last game on the Sejuani. And for Montusker, I actually want to see him do the same thing, but I'm interested to see how he's going to do it because he's the inferior champion pre-6. So I think he'll have an easy enough job impacting mid lane, but it'll be interesting to see if he can get that Kai'Sa ahead, but it's just tough. But we do need to point out that Winter Wonder did stick to that exhaust. So he kept that exhaust to shut down the cage like you mentioned, but that means that's less combat stats for the laning phase.
Yeah, Peachbuzz taking kind of a bad trade. We do see that he took the fleet footwork to give himself a little bit of extra healing. We mentioned it will be a rough matchup for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both junglers starting on their red sides.
Yep, absolutely. Both junglers starting on the red sides, which is unlike last game because Ziggy started at his blue buff when he was on blue side, but Montusker doing the more traditional red buff start, and he's just doing the most efficient path. This has been the most efficient path that the Koreans, pretty much started doing right after the new jungle changes. You do red, Krugs, chickens. Now he can look to just keep farming and hit level 6 as fast as possible. Peach Plus Fizzle did take fleet forward, but I mean he's completely losing in CS, and especially with Earl King's Electrocute, he is just getting totally destroyed in terms of HP pool. I don't know. What do you think about I know Jace is supposed to win, but this is gonna make the mid 2v2 a lot harder if Peach Plus Fizzle barely has any health left.
Like we mentioned, Peach Buzz is the Riven main, so maybe he knows better than we do, but I think he probably should have started with the E. Like, definitely needed. Oh. Can't pause in the middle of a fight. Yes, you can.
Yeah, best James
It looks like, sorry, we do have a little bit of a pause. Someone might have disconnected, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. But yeah, I think starting with the shield probably would have helped the Riven out a little bit more, even probably opting for a boots start with the 4 potions just for more lane presence. But
yeah, boots are
a very rough time.
Because now with Longsword start, it feels like the Riven has given up on laning phase, is hoping to get Tiamat, and then just gonna try to impact the side lanes post Tiamat. But if that's what the Riven's plan is, if that's what Peach Buzz's plan is, then Ziggy's gonna have a much harder time impacting mid, like we said. And as you can already see on the map, by the way, Montusker is invading Sejuani Raptors because of the complete lane priority and dominance that Earl King has on this Jace. But I do want to bring your attention to the top lane, actually, now that we discussed mid jungle. Best James Bond on that Shen, his health is below half now. Is this, after this pause, is this fight going to be something that's significant? Is Best James Bond in danger of being in lethal?
Both top laners do have the flashes available. I definitely think that Best James Bond definitely not in a position he wants to be in right now. Seconds off of this pause right now, so we will see. Will about to lose vision. Flash comes down. The Q will. Yeah, I definitely think that definitely some BM coming through with that pause. I'm definitely not a fan of that. I think if not for the pause, I think that would have been a kill coming through for the Ornn. So definitely some questionable pausing.
Yeah, could be BM, could just be unlucky timing. I mean, it's hard to know, but yeah, man. Oh, we
do have such. The Evelynn moving up towards this Ornn in the top lane. A lot of damage coming down, but won't necessarily get a summoner spell or a kill.
Yeah, however, the Sejuani, on the other hand, did pressure Earl King and has chunked him, which is really good because Riven is a
3v2 currently in this mid lane. Ziggy in risk of getting caught out, but sure over this. Actually, Sejuani forced a flash there, so that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, but that's just Montusker. I mean, I don't think it's it's not to say that Ziggy. Yeah, Ziggy doesn't have his own. He has his own strengths, and he did force the Jace flash out by going mid lane before Montusker, who opted to go top. Actually, ooh, yeah, Riven trying to punish Earl King for not having a flash anymore, while Peach Buzz did, but he's unable to because Jace knocks him away. But yeah, Montusker, it does feel like, is already getting the better of this jungle matchup, but Ziggy, really importantly, it does feel like he's turned around the mid lane matchup because Peach Buzz is actually back, pretty much an even CS, and with both of the mid laners, they're out of HP pods. Now the Riven can just get deep vision and might either look to roam or back for a Tiamat, and then who knows how this lane state will go. But bot lane may be something here. No.
There's so much damage coming onto Best James Bond here in this top lane. Absolutely just getting smacked with the hammer.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like you mentioned, Ichiba's Fizzle definitely benefited from the Jace roaming to help out the, I'm sorry, with the Scuttle exchange there. Completely. There was a part where he was at 15-3 in the farm, and he's back at completely even, so. No flash available for Best James Bond, does have his dash. Himself alive there. If flash is available on Orange, we might see a solo kill coming through.
Yeah, we might, so I'm watching for that, but I just do want to make the point that only easy plays. He was playing Vladimir last game, and despite being completely hard camped, he was winning in CS, and then he stayed even in CS. And now on the Orange, he's going to build himself almost a 20 CS lead, and Shen's TP is down. Shen does have ulti, obviously, so once he hits 6, he can just roam bot regardless. But what that's going to mean is if a fight happens, mid or bot, especially around that Ocean Dragon, if the Shen ults down, then he won't have TP to get back to his lane, so Ornn
may have another pause coming through shortly.
Yeah, might. Unsure because it did say DC'd, but it doesn't look like anyone has strange movement. Yeah, it does look like the Thresh reconnected, so no pause coming through. And Ornn just winning this one-on-one really hard still. The Evelynn is level 5, as is Ziggy, but I think the Evelynn's level 6 might be more significant than the Sejuani's. Sejuani taking her chickens, and she hasn't hit 6. So Sejuani is going to need her red buff or another camp to hit 6 at least. So this mid lane gank that she's threatening isn't as dangerous as it could be if she was level 6. In the meantime, Montusker is just going to keep farming and is on his red buff at the point. And Tyser's actually roaming up to make sure that the Jace is in no danger. And with Sejuani going to a red buff, this might be the perfect chance for CR to see if they can sneak that Ocean Dragon and get that Shen out of that lane that he's losing anyways, right? Use the Shen ulti, make him be more useful than the Ornn, start building those things.
Oh, we do have the jungler here. Montusker in the mid lane, flashes out. Ooh, unfortunately does get charmed first blood coming over onto this Evelynn, but only easy plays, sees no jungler available, so Borshka does find him out. Flash onto double J. Oh, one more auto would have got Best James Bond, but showing who is in charge of this top lane.
Yeah, showing who's in charge of the top lane, but just a mechanical misplan that he moved away instead of going for the auto attack. And normally, it would be no big deal to harp on someone's, mechanical misplay, whatever, go next. But the reason it's a big deal is, that's Jace might get solo.
Yeah, stun comes through onto Earl King, but so much damage coming out. Electrocute does get popped, and that will be the jungler just getting wiped out. Only easy plays. Very used to this after the last game. Montusker back up to visit him. It's been a little while, but picked up only easy plays with the jungler intervention.
I was literally just gonna say the reason it's a big deal that play didn't work out is twofold. One, only easy plays flashes down, and as we saw last game, Montusker loves punishing that top lane aggression that only easy plays is constantly playing with, right? Like forward in the lane past the river. Last game he was on Vlad, so even if with his flash down, he was pretty safe. But with Ornn, once that flash and ulti are down, Montusker is free to farm him. Now he's got 1 kill and 1 assist. That's one reason, but also he wasn't able to get Shen off the map. So now Double B still doesn't have any kill threat, right? Double B, you mentioned at draft, is probably one of the better players on TJ, and you want to look to get him ahead. And he does have a 30 CS.
We do see the call come down from Lucian, but honestly, not sure why.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing he can do, right? Like, if the Shen was down, maybe that call is you trying to get the Kai'Sa lower HP. You can maybe look to get a kill, anything like that. But at this point, all it means is the Lucian and Karma just want to reset and spend that gold that they have in the advantage they've built. But I don't know, it's looking a lot like last game for CR. They're winning the early game. Yes, mechanical misplays from both teams, but CR is just playing better as a team in my opinion. Only easy plays getting punished for his over aggressiveness, but still up a lot in CS. And Montusker, to me, no matter what champion he's on, is impacting the map way more than Ziggy. But
one thing we need to look at, there's a 3 kill advantage, but there's only 400 gold difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's mostly because of Double B's gold lead and only easy plays gold lead. But what I want to talk to you about now is as Montusker clears his chickens, are they going to go for something like the Ocean Drake that they have vision control over because they're the better warding team? or are they gonna, look for Montusker, look for a gank, Montusker look for a Rift Herald?
He was in shock. He didn't even realize he got canceled.
Yeah, and that's actually a huge deal.
Unfortunately, it does get caught out. It does have to blow the ultimate, but Glacial Prison not available. Beachbuzz fizzled. Oh, so much damage coming through from Crab right there.
So clean. Oh man, I don't normally make it a habit to compliment. Oh man, that's probably the first dominate player I'm just completely impressed with. Big applause to Montusker. I was just gonna say though, when I thought he was gonna die, so it's become a moot point. By interrupting the Riven's recall, it means that if the Riven keeps trying to recall, the Jace would crash the wave, get a tower plate, get an XP, gold lead, etc.
But with no easy plays, get out.
Yeah, with the Riven dead, Montusker is just free to go top, and the only easy plays is gonna die here again.
Really easy plays just needs to pay attention to how James Bond is playing, because the second James Bond tries to do anything, you just need to run.
Yep, I do wish James Bond had given the... I know that you don't want to give all the kills to Evelyn. I just think that Shen is probably not the other person you want to give kills to, Jace can take the kills when Evelyn ganks. Kaisen can take the kills if Evelyn ever ganks. But I would like those kills on Evelyn. That's a minor gripe. But the Evelyn is now 2-0-3, and they're on the Rift Herald. And like I was saying, when you force the Riven out the way they did, even if they hadn't killed the Riven, they would have had mid-prio.
A lot of damage coming down. Death Sentence will connect on a double B. Does tend to take a bunch of turret shots. Able to get himself out there. Barely, though. One more auto will take him down. Stand United comes through. Best James Bond here in this fight. One more auto will have gotten the Shen, but it looks like, ooh, Death Sentence barely doesn't connect onto Winter Wonder. Will get himself out. Fantastic job from Tasty Juice there. Able to get themselves out.
After Shen ulted and flashed, why was he unable to taunt the Lucian? Was his taunt not up?
Oh, he flash taunted and missed.
Oh, flash taunted and missed. Okay, my bad. I think it might have been a visual glitch on
flash taunted. Yeah, he flash taunted to get that extra distance. But likely we'll just go ahead and summon up the Rift Herald, trying to get as much gold off as they can off of this bottom turret. And 2,000 gold lead now coming through for CR here.
Yep. I mean, that's the gold lead right there. Yeah, but you got that mid advantage that we talked about in draft. You pick the Jace, you have the better laning mid laner, you have Montusker who's going to impact mid way more than Ziggy is. You got the Rift Herald because only easy plays kept dying to, with his aggression. Then, most importantly, unlike last game, because you pick Shen, by simple virtue of that, you were easily able to transfer that advantage to bot lane. So now every lane is ahead in terms of kills and impact that's been had on it. Obviously, Best James Bond is down 30 CS. Cage is down 30 CS, but that's, laning mechanics is not something that you as a team can control or fix in a day. So I'm really liking how Montusker and Best James Bond and Earl King are just working together to impact their side of the map and then transferring that bot lane. They sadly can't get the Ocean Drake though.
The 4 champions we see in the bot lane, it's really surprising to see 4 0-0s. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
No kills in the bottom lane so far. Winter Wonder, not where you want to be, but he does get charmed up and knocked back. Absolutely wiped out. So much damage coming through as we already have Sorcerer Shoes onto this Evelyn.
Yep, and if she goes for that
Dark Seal game coming through for Montusker here.
If Montusker does go Morellonomicon with that amplifying to him, just the Oblivion Orb portion, that's just true damage to this. Like a significant carry like double B. It's just going to be so much damage. You mentioned that it's sort of strange that that bot lane, with those 4 champions did go 0-0-0, but I honestly think it's just because of the Shen pick, because when you're playing Lucian Karma, right, it's not something like Lucian Braum or Lucian Alistar where maybe you can just burst someone before the Shen ult even becomes a really big factor. Because they didn't have that instant burst, the Lucian wants kills, right? Double B is constantly trying to win lane, especially against someone like Cage, who he's beaten last game. But the Shen ulti, they either will Shen ulti to stop you, and then you'll probably die because you fought under turret because you were perma pushing. Or, as we saw last play, if you don't immediately kill them, and let's say Cage survives with 200 health, well, Shen can just ult on top of him, and then they can re-engage onto you as a 3v2. So I think it's just annoying for double
Forge God coming down onto Earl God. Also, Glacial Prison will get him out. Jace will be going down here. 4 members in the mid lane. Tasty Juice trying to find themselves this mid turret, open themselves up the map.
Yeah, and that's the orange. That's, I mean, when you take, I was just talking about the Shen.
Ziggy needs to get himself out here, but actually will most likely be going down to the turret. The last tick of Ignite won't take him down. Looks like the healing from Red Buff probably saved him there.
Yeah, definitely possible that that's what ended up saving him. But yeah, Shen is able to impact bot lane more because of those cross map plays. But Ornn, which Best James Bond picked last game for a reason, when he comes down mid lane, his ult is just so impactful, and he's able to take Earl King out of the fight before it even starts. And he's 2-1-3. I mean, he's one of the, I mean, he's the second strongest member on CR. So yeah, just the Ornn impacting the map in his own way, and the Shen doesn't really punish him for it. I mean, the Shen is still down about 30 CS.
Yeah, in that whole time, they were able to have Peach Buzz Fizzle in the bottom side, getting that wave pushed into turret, trying to pick himself up some more CS, even himself up a little bit.
Yeah.
Looking to move towards. Why does he have a crit cloak?
Yeah, I was just gonna say
I did go Essence Reaper.
Yeah, I did, but I didn't think that Essence Reaper was really item on him, so I'm unsure.
I don't know why you would build a crit cloak on Riven. Like, play is not where you want to be. Like, and I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, that's his Montusker pat. I mean, what else can you say? When you, Sejuani had no topside camp, so Sejuani has no reason to be topside. So only easy plays just needs to know to keep that up. But Peach Buzz taking a lot of damage there.
Ooh, 2 flashes in a row. Fantastic job. Oh, unfortunately, Peach Buzz Fizzle will go down there. Stand United does get wasted. Trying to save the Jace. Death sentence onto Winter Wonderland. Flashes the play though. Saves his life with that flash.
Yep. A bit late of an ulti coming in from Shen. I think the Jace could have lived there, and then they would have been able to pressure the bot tier too. But hindsight's 2020. The Jace was still able to outplay the Riven, get the kill. But because the Shen ulti came in late, Sejuani, I think it looks like we'll be able to get this bot tier 2 and cut that 3k gold lead down. You know, down more towards 2k. But just looking at, I don't want to critique the Riven's build just because A, I'm not a Riven player, and B, I don't know what it's going to be completed into yet, but it does seem strange. What I can concretely say though is because Riven's only sitting on components and has been unable to finish an item, this upcoming dragon fight, if Riven's unable to finish an item by then, the Jace is going to be a lot more useful with that Ghost Blade and that Serrated Dirk. He's going to be doing almost true damage to someone like Lucian, as is the Evelynn with the completed Morellonomicon.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Morellonomicon coming through. Not a ton of healing. Ooh, we do see a knockup coming through. Thresh trying to get himself out. Death Sets connects onto only easy plays here. Best James Bond alone against 4 members right now. Doesn't have anyone to help him out. Tap him around, trying to help him out, but wait, I'm sorry. It looks like the fight will get dragged out a little bit more here. Earl King says, no, that's my red buff. Picks himself up with the last coming through, but do you see the second Ocean Drake coming over here for Tasty Juice? That will help him out with all the poke that's coming through from this Jace and the Kaisa. Just get whiffed a little bit there by Ziggy. Unfortunately, Montusker not able to find Peach Buzz. The redemption coming down. Ornn trying to get himself out. Only has about 300 health left.
The Jace poke coming in, and we do want to point that Double B's heal is now down. His own survivability is down, and combined with the Karma redemption being down, the carries are in a lot more danger from the aforementioned Jace poke, the Evelynn all-in, and the Kaisa follow-up. So yeah, because of those mentioned factors, I mean, TJ just have to give up that mid-tier 1. And now last game we talked a lot about CR's better vision control, so I want to see CR reset back, buy control wards, you know, just buy items, and then push in and get that vision for that Baron that's about to spawn in half a minute.
We do see the Essence Reaver as the first item for so like I don't know. I'm not.
Do you think maybe he meant to build Spirit Shojin and he just built Essence Reaver because that's what it used to be?
I think, yeah, I think he just doesn't read. Anna.
Okay, so we're being told he just plays crit Riven. That's his thing.
Yeah, but why would you build Essence Reaver?
Man, you got me beat there.
For the 20%.
I
don't know, dude. I'm gonna stop questioning it. I'm not a Riven main, but
I mean, we don't have to just critique the item build. My bigger issue with the Riven pick is just the fact that he's gone 0-3, and when you pick something like Essence Reaver, I'm not even gonna bother commenting on if it's good or not. I just, you know, in my opinion of general melee crit builds, normally you have to be ahead to really get the most advantage out of them. You know, you need to be able to get multiple auto attacks off so you're not getting ruined by RNG, and you can really kill that backline. But you can already see he's gone for the Ninja Tabby. I think he's just getting the Kindle Gem that I assume is going to something like a Black Cleaver. I just don't see... I think he's too far behind to be able to kill the backline with the build he's going. And I think he loses to the Jace in the side lane. So a lot like last game, Peach Bus Fizzle I think is going to be a liability.
Ooh, fantastic flash there from Montusker.
Yeah, it's almost like I can see the future, man. Oh, but the Ornal.
Yeah, Glacial Prison won't connect onto Tyser, but will get the slow. Cage does have to blow his flash. Teleport coming through. Yeah, one last turret shot will get the kill over to the Jace. Yeah, Montusker in the backside, unfortunately does have the stopwatch. May be going down himself though. Ziki just getting wiped out as 4 members start to focus it.
Yeah, no kills coming through, and Montusker arguably playing that mechanically, you know, not well, but that's the threat I was talking about. Double B, comp-wise, is the #1 carry of this team. Skill-wise, is the #1 player on this team. And even if Montusker doesn't kill him, when he threatens to kill him, it completely warps how skirmishes and team fights are going to play out for TJ. So I want to see Montusker keep doing that, but hopefully, you know, don't die or don't have to blow your stopwatch, because you are 3-0-5. So if you die, the whole team fight will turn around.
Okay, and as we do start to move into this mid game, sitting at 11-3 with only a 2k gold difference. So for the side of Tasty Juice, not letting themselves bleed too badly. 2,000 gold could be a lot worse.
It's gonna sound like a really minor complaint, but Cage is actually super low health, and he messed up his kiting of the Raptors camp. So Baron's up, Dragon's gonna be up soon, and now his reset and the Thresh's reset timing. I just feel like we talk a lot about CR's vision control, and I think a lot of people think vision control is the #1 part of macro, but especially in 5s, a big part is back timing, and you can see TJ is actually didn't do a great job or anything, but just literally by merit of the fact that 3 members of CR backed and 2 stayed on the map, TJ just get to move in, get rid of all of CR's vision. And even though TJ's not great at placing vision, I mean, they place vision, right? They have a threshold of vision to place. So now they have Baron control, and now they can look, or vision of Baron, and now they can look to move towards Dragon, where Montusker is playing a risky game. So I definitely want to point out the back timings of CR, but okay, nothing's gonna happen there. Yeah, just if you're watching, like, watch CR's back timings, watch how they might lose objective control, or they might take an objective not as fast as they would like to, which can cost them the game, as we saw with each of their 3 Barons last game. Each Baron they got, because of how slow they were with it or something else they did wrong with it, they just got wiped right after the Baron. But we do
this will be the Cloud Drake going over to CR here, their first of the game.
Yeah. Cloud Drake is probably not the Drake you wanted. It's not terrible, but I mean, I think you would like something like an Infernal or a Mountain. But I guess you just won't be missing the Mountain as much because you do have the Jace and you have the Kaisa for percent HP on objectives. But the only thing you get with a Cloud Drake is, you know, more engage, just something like that, or for the Evelyn to be more slippery. But hey, you get to take it away from TJ, who got both Elder Dragons last game. They clearly value them, they're clearly getting them. So taking it out of their hands is never a bad thing. But now I want to see both teams move towards Baron, as Shen is in the side lane, but it seems the Riven was thinking about going to the bot lane, but without a TP, that would be a really risky thing to do. So We'll see what she ends up doing. She's sort of just sitting in the river, I think, waiting for Scuttle spawn. So I want to see CR move back up towards this Baron and get vision control back. The Thresh is there, but the Jace needs to be there. The Kai'Sa needs to be there, who had the back reset timing.
They call the Force God coming down onto Montusker. Does have Stand United coming down. Ooh, they will be able to kill him right before the Shen comes through.
Yep, that's the second Stand United that hasn't really panned out as it was supposed to. You can't just blame the Shen. Yeah, it's just like a teamwork synergy, teamwork calls thing. But the end result is that Montusker, their 8 KDA absolute pop-off jungler, is dead right now. That's going to allow TJ to just pressure this mid-tier 2. Ooh.
Play comes down onto Ziggy. He's taking some turret damage. We'll go ahead and get taunted up. This will be a free turret going down. Tier 2 mid is huge. Killer Instinct coming down onto this Kai'Sa cage, trying to find out the only easy plays. Will just try to get himself away. The taunt does catch him out though. A few more autos will catch him out, but it looks like he probably will get himself away. Oh my god, easy plays gets himself out, and this will be the kill going over for Riven. Finds himself the first kill of the game.
Yeah, that's a complete lack of team synergy and team shot calling, and I can tell you that because the Kai'Sa backed away from the Ornn only easy plays, while the Shen was clearly moved forward and then taunted the Ornn. If the Kai'Sa...
Winter Wonderland is just not really where you want it to back there. Actually, yeah. Do see Cage flash there.
Yeah, just a really greedy back, but even a greedier flash from Cage. Not exactly the guy who you trust to waste his flash and live. But Cage has finished his Mana Moon item and his Ginsus. He didn't go the Storm Razors build that Double B went last game. I will just quickly point out, Storm Razors is a very subpar item on Kai'Sa. You really only go it when you're saying, hey, the enemy team is absolute trash. Like when you're smurfing or did something, you know, I'll build it before Diamond. But after that, the Mana Moon's much better. So for this Baron fight, I think this Cage item build is going to come in really handy. But back to my original point, the Kai'Sa and the Shen just not having a lot of synergy. That's really
the death push here for only easy plays does get caught up. A little bit of a taunt coming through, but only easy plays is so tanky. Call the Forge God will find out Montusker, but currently sitting in about probably gonna have our first 5v5 of the game. Best James Bond. Oh, a lot of damage coming through from the Riven. Able to stun up Cage. Able to get 2 fantastic play there coming from Peach Buzz Fizzle.
Yeah,
that was a massive ultimate coming through. That disgusting.
Yeah, it was disgusting, but I mean, Cage was just sitting in the back line. He wasn't doing any damage to only easy plays Ornn. Like he was just walking back and forward and hitting the ward. And then he walked up into the Sejuani ult, he got slowed, walked back, and then he walked back into the hit by the Riven CC. So you can call it disgusting, or you can call it, I mean, you can call it whatever you want. But yeah, in the end, really good play by Peach Buzz. Just like last game, even though he didn't do great in laning, he has a lot of depth. He's providing the utility. He's getting them those team fight wins, and he's probably getting them the Baron right here.
A fantastic job for TJ there. Able to find themselves the 2 kills, and then they move themselves towards that Baron. Just, it looks like the game is starting to turn back around in favor of TJ here. They now have a 4,000 gold lead. Yeah, now have the Spear Sojin sitting on the Riven with that Ninja Tabby. Herself a little bit tankier too, but I would like to see some magic resist come through.
Yeah, I think magic resist, you know, would be good, especially because Montusker's so ahead. But I just think Montusker, his job is clearly defined to get on double B, which is why, by the way, double B has rushed that Maw of Malmortius. He has that Black Cleaver upgraded by Ornn's upgrade, and he has Merc Tread. So I think both teams recognize the win condition and the subset win condition for Montusker, which means basically that the Riven, I think the Riven just feels that Evelynn will never be there. He'll never have to actually fight the Evelynn. So he's building to counter the Jace and Kai'Sa, sort of. So I think that part is fine. But as we fight over this dragon, the Riven is, you know, separated from the rest of the team. So CR might just rush this Ocean Dragon.
Trying to rush the Ocean Dragon. Colin comes through very early. Kai'Sa just gets absolutely wiped out. Montusker doesn't do any real damage at the beginning of this fight. Ziggy pops his Gargoyle Stoneplate. Just so tanky. They are able to find themselves the Shen, but Peach Buzz Fizzle starting to do massive amounts of damage. Able to find himself a double kill. double kill going over to Lucian. Also, TJ starting to take over this game.
Yeah, and honestly, it might sound like hyperbole, but that actually feels like game over to me, just because that.
Oh no,
whole
I was
fight-
about to say the same thing.
Yeah, that just because that whole, I don't know, like some people like to watch specific players, some people like to watch fight as a whole. Only easy plays on the Orange was 1v1ing the Ocean Dragon from 700 to 200 health. There's literally no way he could be more useless or anything he could do worse in that team fight, and they absolutely destroyed CR. Like, I bring that up just to mention, like, they don't need the Orange tankiness there. The Sejuani is tanky enough. Like, Cage isn't doing enough damage to be able to burn through these tanks. Earl King isn't, because he went a Fowly build and there are 2 tanks on the enemy team. And Montusker, for all the good he's, just the great play he's at, he's unable to kill double B. So
one difference between the Barons that we saw in the last game, because we didn't see TJ with the Baron last game. All 3 of them went over to Crabgrave. They had their Barons up. They really didn't get anything from them. They would push. They didn't necessarily get their inhibs off of the Baron buffs, but when they were pushing, they would overextend and they would stay way too long. We didn't see that happen with TJ there. They got themselves that those bot towers. They got themselves the inhib, and then they left. They didn't stay and try to fight.
yeah, I think TJ has its own share of macro issues. There's a reason, even though they won the game, did go 50 minutes last time. But yeah, they definitely feel like they're much better about executing their leads, because the major issue last game was they just never had a lead. They were constantly doing mechanical misplays, way too over aggressive, and Montusker was abusing them. But this game, Montusker is unable to kill Double B because of that smart itemization. And if Double B makes that Zeal into a Phantom Dancer, the game's just over. Double B will never die.
But flashes and ultimates getting blown here. Call of the Forge God coming down. This may be the last attempt here from Crabgrave to win this game. So many tanky members here. Earl King trying to get himself out, but he finally goes down here. But this fight looks like it is going in favor of TJ here. Cage keeping himself alive on the backside, but Double B also alive. Triple kill going over to the Lucian, but Montusker whole time. Oh man, that was a fight. This whole time, do have Riven in the base taking Nexus turrets. Riven's just gonna end the base while Riven just ends the game while this entire thing goes on. GG. TJ will go ahead to win this game. Peach Buzz Fizzle ends the game while his team takes that team fight.
If you're Montusker, you're just saying better jungle wins in all chat. You're spamming it because, that's just an infuriating game to watch. Like, when I say that he outperformed someone, I don't say it just to flame the other person, but like Montusker he was just like he was 1v5ing that early game. He was in every lane. His top and bot lane were like at huge CS deficits. He was fixing those lanes as best as he could. O King was obviously a good laner, but like he was getting him ahead too and just playing around him. That's a 2-0, but I don't know if the 2-0 really tells the whole story of that series, especially if you didn't watch game 1, that 50-minute grind fest. TJ wins, but what are your takeaways for after this series for TJ, who are going to be proceeding to the semifinals?
There definitely things that other teams can take away looking at Tasty Juice. They're definitely exploitable. Definitely have to look at the jungle. The jungle necessarily didn't work out for them, but it didn't go as poorly as it could have. But like we saw, Montusker was just able to path that game. He was all over the place, and it is definitely frustrating to see that it didn't go, like, to see specifically for Montusker, to see him not moving on just due to how well he played in that series. So you definitely just need to try to exploit the top lane. You need to try to exploit the mid lane. Like we saw, it did work out in the beginning. So many poor mid game decisions that Crabgrave made. They played the early games in both games pretty well, but their mid game, they just stuck around too long for team fights when they definitely should have backed out at certain points. They took fights that weren't necessarily the best ones for them, and I think their downfall came. They definitely could have won those games. Just a lot of mid-game errors.
Yeah, I feel like TJ is really exploitable because I mean you could have a jungler who's really good at ganking. That way you can abuse their top lane and their mid lane. You can have a mid laner who's really good at laning. You can abuse Peach Buzz. I mean Peach Buzz was literally on his main champion and he was getting destroyed in lane before jungle interference helped reset it. And even after that, although he never went to a CS deficit after that, he did die 3 times. Or I mean, what about a strong bot lane, right? Like there are, as far as I know, there are some really good bot lanes in Dominate. And Double B is good, don't get me wrong, especially with the CS builds he's been building in lane. But if you have an AD carry who's doing comparable work to Double B, and then you have one of those other strengths I mentioned, right? Like you shut Peach Bots down, and your AD carry is doing equivalent work to Double B. I don't know how TJ really has a viable chance of winning the whole thing, just because everyone feels so exploitable, except someone like Double B. Um, as we recap the game and the series as a whole, though, it's almost honorific at this point. Like it's useless to do it because I think everyone knows. But who would you say is your MVP of the series? For me, it's Double B. But what do you say?
I would definitely have to give it to Double B. He played both of his games very well. A lot of the team fights definitely rotated around him. I definitely want to give a lot of credit to Buzz on that Riven. A lot of early game didn't necessarily go well, but definitely game literally solo in the game for Tasty there. Um, play for both of those members in the last game.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But I think that's gonna be it. That's a 2-0 for TJ. Anything else you want to say about these teams?
I think that's going to go ahead and do it for us tonight. We'll be back next week for the next round of the playoffs. But yeah, thanks for joining me tonight, Hogwarts. Thanks to Rando Joe also for being on our production and streaming tonight. Thanks for all for joining us. I'm X Bumpadump. Have a great night, everyone.